Thank you, Mr. Geary. What specific plans do you have to further the tax base inside Sioux City? And if the tax base for Sioux City was increased, would you reduce the city tax levy?
Two parts to that question. First, on growing our tax base, I believe it is critical that we have the right tools, many of the tools that we have right now, to use to further economic development within our community, whether it be tax increment financing or whether it be the border tax legislation that we lobbied for in the last several years and were successful in passing and now using to create and retain 700 jobs in just this year. It's important to use our tools effectively. It's important that you have a city council who's willing to make tough decisions, who are willing to look at the finances of each development and make sure it makes sense for the community, and people within the Economic Development Department who are capable, intelligent, and willing to get the job done and market ourselves effectively both within our community and without our community. So I think those are some of the key principles that we have to operate by to grow our tax base. As it relates to operating budgets and tax levies, we'd all like to believe that in an operation of City Hall with over 700 employees that operating budgets wouldn't go up and that the City Council wouldn't have to make tough decisions about our tax rate, but that isn't the case. We are called to govern, and sometimes that means making tough decisions, even decisions that we would not like to make. The reality is, if we grew our tax base effectively so that we could keep up with the cost of government, I'd be happy to lower property taxes and cast that vote, or hold the line on our property taxes as they stand now. But the reality is, in the last several years, we've not grown that tax base fast enough, and that has cost us 12% of our workforce in cuts over the last 4 to 5 years. So we've made tough decisions all around.
Thank you. Mr. Rochester.
I believe that we always need to look at return on investment when it comes to any of the projects that we invest into Sioux City. We need to see how many jobs will it create, what it will do for our tax base, and how soon will we get paid back for those investments when it comes to economic dollars. I am excited about the citywide urban revitalization for the residential. I think that it's going to be great with companies possibly coming here like Hyperion that will bring quite a few people, and that alone could widen our tax base quite a bit. I do think that our spending in regards to our operational budget and that going up on a continual basis, I do disagree that it doesn't have to go up on a continual basis. I do think that we do have consulting fees. I do think that we have subsidies where we're losing money on a consistent basis, where if we reject an operational budget that continues to go up, where the city will have to go back and work with the council and find those inefficiencies and find a way to keep that operational budget to where it's not raising the tax levy and making it more difficult for businesses and making it more difficult for homeowners. So I do think that there is a way to lower the tax levy if we continue to widen our tax base, but also make sure that we're willing to reject operational budgets that continue to go up when we know that there's inefficiencies and we know that there's areas where we can do better.
Mr. Hobart.
It's been a while. Would you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Mr. Hobart, what specific plans do you have to further develop the tax base inside Sioux City? And if the tax base for Sioux City was increased, would you reduce the city tax levy?
I have been educating myself on many of the programs that have been developed by the City Council. The tax abatement program, some of the TIF programs, the urban renewal programs, and I believe many of those have promise to bring about increases in the tax base. And as a result, I would hopefully be able to see some changes that would enable the City Council to reduce taxes in the future. I must say that some of these programs are very complex, and I guess I don't want to make promises to the people that I can't keep. I don't want to promise reductions unless those reductions are real, and I don't want to make commitments that I can't keep. So I'm going to continue to educate myself in those programs. And I think the City Council right now is in the right direction in many cases. With the tax abatement, I would prefer to keep those tax abatements restricted to certain areas and not make them citywide, because I think that there are certain areas in town that are in need of development. A citywide tax abatement may be too much for the system to handle at this particular time. So that's how I would go about it. Sorry.
And Mr. Hoffman.
There is one simple and incontrovertible fact. Oh, my chair just dropped on me, folks. First time that's happened. That tends to drive the expansion of a tax base in any city, whether it be Sioux City or otherwise. And that is simply jobs. Jobs drive progress, growth, and an expansion of the tax base. In particular, higher paying jobs, industrial and commercial in nature. Now, this is an area that Sioux City, in essence, has struggled with, not just for years, but in essence for decades in many ways, in which we have one of the lowest or weakest tax bases in the state, and hence a higher proportional property tax levy at the school and the city level in particular, as well as the county, that drives those budgetary concerns. However, that acknowledged, the solution is never easy, as is most things in government, folks. This has remained my top priority on council. It would remain my top priority as mayor, is to bring higher paying jobs to the city. Last year, we added over 900 jobs to this community. Now, that's not something you might read in the paper, but it's the highest single year in more than a decade. The unemployment rate has dropped more than 2 points in the past 3 years, and just recently we were recognized as the highest work employment statistic of any city in the entire state. We need to continue to concentrate on jobs if we're going to expand our property base, move the city forward while still being disciplined about spending. That's how you do that.